Hello everyone, in this guide we will go through ERC20 Governance using Defender and Tally. Here you can see Contracts Wizard OpenZeppelin tool. We can create here contracts, for example ERC20, and we will do it now. So we can set name and symbol as we wish. So let's leave it at myToken MTK. Let's premint a little tokens. Okay, 10,000. Let's get mintable, burnable, pausable, votes, and snapshots. Okay, and we'll be using roles also to decide whether the contract has an access to certain role or not. It's a simpler way. And we'll go to remix. We can do it from the contract wizard right here. And now we'll be compiling it. Okay, we'll go to the deploy section. And we'll be doing injected web3, so we gotta change that. Okay, so we'll connect to the network. Now we'll choose the contract we want to deploy. It will be my token, because it was like we called it. And we are clicking deploy. Okay, transaction MetaMask opens. Gotta wait a little. Okay, we got it. So now it's published on IPFS, so we can get our contract address now. Just copy it. And we need to verify that to get Insta ABI. So we'll go to Sourcify tool. We can find it in plugin manager. Okay, let's activate that.
Oh, it's an error. Oh, let's try to refresh.
Okay, just reloading the page. Okay, we get that.
Yeah, so let's get back when the Sourcify starts working, or the remix in general. So see you in a second. Okay, so we waited a few minutes, but as you can see, Sourcify is still not working. So I will show you how to deal with issues like that when you're adding the contracts in Defender. So what we need to do is to add a new contract. Import it and specify the name, then the network and address, which you can copy from the deployed version. So we need to deploy the token again and compile it. Okay, so here as you can see, we can copy the contract's address and paste it here. But now Defender is trying to fetch the contract, but it's not published on Sourcify, so it will not be able to retrieve the ABI. But we can copy the ABI from Remix and paste it there manually. So for that, we would need to go to which section?
It was compile section, right?
Yeah, I can see this
To
one.
ABI.
Maybe oh yeah, it's right here.
Yeah.
So you just pick the token you work on and you click on the copy ABI button, and then you can paste the ABI right here in Defender and just add it. Yeah, so it's a nice solution if Sourceify doesn't work, and then when it starts working we can publish it there eventually too. So now we have the ERC20 token, so it's time to create a governance contract.
Yeah, right. So we're going to Openzeppelin Wizard again, and we can choose governor. Okay, so name, let's leave it at my governor. Let's change voting period to check it faster. For example, 5 minutes. Okay. Let's set updatable settings, leave it as it is. ERC20 votes also, TimelockController also, because we'll be using those solutions. And I think we can go to the remix now.
Yeah, I think we can also add the proposal threshold, so that if you want to create a new proposal, you need, let's say, 100 tokens. And considering we minted 10,000 of them, you need 100 to start a new proposal. So, yeah.
Okay, now we can go to remix. And we will be doing the same steps. So compile. We gotta deploy it again. Injected with 3. Okay. And now it asks us about the token address that we've already deployed. So it was ERC20. So we can copy paste that. Also, governor needs Timelock because we wanted to add that option. So we don't have it yet, but we can do it on OpenZeppelin Defender. So we gotta move there. And we'll be creating it as an add contract, create Timelock, right? And we can set the name, of course. Timelock, my Timelock, okay. Okay, network Rinky because we're using testnet of the Ethereum. Proposers, so we can add those.
Yeah, maybe our MetaMask accounts. Let's say.
Yeah.
I'll copy my second account too.
Those are the accounts that are in charge. Dev. You inputted dev there. Delete everything and copy paste it. Yeah.
Okay, that should be alright.
And we can set the delay for the, I think, 1 minute or even less. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so you can see the executors by default are set so that everyone can execute your proposals, but we could change that and select specified executors later.
Yeah, okay. So now we got a connect to wallet. Okay, and we can create Timelock. Okay, gotta wait. Okay, transaction is confirmed. We can go to Timelock instantly from here or open admin section to access it. So we can copy paste the address and we will go back to our remix where we wanted to get the Timelock. Okay, we'll paste that and transact.
Oh yeah, so when it's done we can once again add it to Defender as a new contract. and provide it with the ABI manually. So it's my governor, read key, and the address. Again, we have to, is that governor? Yeah, it's governor. So we have to select my governor and copy the ABI. Okay, so that's it. Now we are at the point where we have our token, we have governor, and we have the Timelock. So we can start with setting up the required permissions.
Okay, so now we want to add a proposer role for our governance contract. To do that, we have to enter our Timelock contract. And we will create new proposal, enter admin action, and we will choose grant role function. Because we're granting the role, we want our governor token to propose. So copy paste the proposer role here in bytes, and we'll choose our governor, right? We'll do it EOA from our MetaMask account, and just a little title for that. Great, create admin action. Now go to approve and execute that. Okay, it's confirmed. Also, we want our governor contract to be executor, so we have to grant him a role for the execution. So we'll do it again by changing to the executor role. Okay. We got to change L to title. And do again, admin action.
Okay, so it went through, but as you probably remember, when we created Timelock, we configured it so that everybody can execute a transaction, and we would like to change that and show you how you can check who has certain permissions like executor or proposal, and how to change them, how to make it so that only specified roles can do actions like that. So to do that, we'll need to use Remix, and we need to create a new contract. So it's say timelock.sol. And Remix has lagged, but should be back in a second.
Happens.
Yeah, maybe let's create a new one. Timelock with uppercase L now. Okay, so it's working. So first, as you probably remember, we haven't created Timelock contract using Wizard, and because the Timelock contract was created by Defender, so we can't check the source code the same way we can for ERC20 and for Governor. So what we have to do is to find the Timelock contract and view it in Block Explorer, and it provides us with the source code of the contract. So now we could copy the whole contract to Remix, but so you can see it has dependencies, it has access control dependency, and it has many other dependencies. so it will take too much time. But what we can do is copy the name and pragma solidity, stuff like that, maybe license too. Then we remove the junk. We don't need to use the import. We don't need the comments. We have to open it and then copy only the function we care about. So in this case, it would be the hasRoll function. And it's from access control. So when you have the role, when you have the function, we can just copy it. We can remove the override because we overwrite nothing. And then return whatever. It can be false, it can be true. Let's say it's false. We don't care about the implementation because we only care about the interface. And that's because we need to know the ABI we can use to contact our real Timelock contract. So now, as we have the contract we can use to get the ABI, we can just create a new, not workspace, but a new contract. Let's call it Timelock attack. And then copy it. Change the name. It's gonna be Timelock attack. And import the timelock.sol file, which contains our Timelock contract. Now what we need to do is we need to create an object of the Timelock contract. So it's gonna be the name of the contract. It's TimelockController. And we create a new instance and provide its address here. So we can get the address easily from Defender. Paste the address here and execute the real hasRoll function using the parameters we provide with the attack contract. So it's gonna be role and accounts. We have an error here, so what's that? Oh, okay, we have a semicolon here. And when it's ready, we only need to deploy the Timelock attack contract. So injected with 3 because we use ringkb. We select Timelock attack and deploy it. Okay. And when it's ready, and now we can use our hasRoll function, use this interface to contact the real Timelock contract underneath with the provided address. So let's check if the governor we granted the executor role has the executor role actually in the smart contract. So to do that, we copy the governor address and we copy the bytes 32 of the role. So we need the bytes of the executor role, and we can go to Timelock, create a new proposal to see what's the byte code, and it's this one. So when we paste it, it returns true because the governor actually has the executor role. But the problem is that even though the governor has the executor role, everybody else can execute functions because we we specified it so before. And to change that, to revoke the role or to check if everybody can execute proposals, we have to use an empty Ethereum address. So we have to find one. It will be easier to just copy it. It's all zeros really, so easy to recognize. And when we paste it, we can see that the null role, the null account, has the executor role. So now we can revoke the executor role from the empty address, so that only the specified address can execute proposals. And for that, we can move to Defender and use our admin actions. And there are probably other, maybe even easier ways to do stuff like that, but just wanted to show you guys how you can check those things when you don't want to copy the whole contract. And it's also nice to know that functions like that, like has role, are not available from this page on Defender. So you can use remix attack contract for that.
Yeah, okay, so now our next goal is to grant another role, but this time for Timelock, because we want him to become a minter. To do that, we have to access Timelock, we are already in, and we will be granting role.
But maybe we could also revoke the executor role first.
Yeah, we can do it. So,
okay.
So revoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And copy paste the executor role for that. We'll be choosing account, you wanted 0.
Yep. Where's that? Let's see.
Okay, EOA. And revoke title.
By the way, the thing is called open role, so that's when it's granted to the empty address and everybody can use it. So we are revoking the open executor role. And when it's executed, we can check remix and see because actually an executor now. It went through, and now we are checking if the empty address is an executor, and he is not. So now only the governor is one, and we can check that. We can copy the governor address. Yep. And it goes here. And yeah, he's the only executor here. I can also check if I'm one, and I'm not. So governor is the only executor now.
Great. Okay, so going back to granting roles, we want our Timelock to become a minter, so we could go for the Timelock contract. It's on the right.
Yeah, we need to make the Timelock contract a minter, so
yeah.
So yeah, from our ERC20 token.
Okay, so we'll be granting role in a function. For the minter role, we got it on the right. Copy paste that. Okay, account will be choosing our Timelock contract because we want him to become minter. Okay, and we'll be doing it from the EOA. And just granting role for Timelock. Minter role. Okay, we'll be using tally tool, so we can switch to that because we want our govern to get votes and proposals, but we can also delegate our votes because it's our next goal. It's up to us because we can do it through Defender or we can do it through tally, but we can do it as we want. So, Jacob, what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
Defender?
I'll show that, but I think that before that we can show you guys how to check roles in ERC20 contracts because we
Okay.
created them using Remix. So we have the source code, we have it deployed here, so it's much easier. We have the whole interface that's connected to the real contract. So here, I believe we can check. Not get role admin, but there was a has role function.
It was in the blue.
Oh yeah, it's here. So we can check who's the minter. So let's go to the my token contract. So it's the ERC20 contract, and copy the stuff we need. So it was minter role, and we can paste it here, and also the account, and it's gonna be governor, but I'm looking for a quick way of copying the address. Yep, it's not this one, it's this one. And so the role is checking if I copied the right thing. Okay, so this is the role, and oh yeah, that's my mistake. I copied the wrong address. I copied the government address, should be the Timelock address, because the Timelock should be able to execute functions like mint tokens, because all of the transactions will go through the Timelock contract. So now, as Bartosz said, we need to create a new proposal, but to create a new proposal we need to have the the minimum amount of votes, and that's because we specified it while creating the governance contract, and we said that, as far as you remember, we need 100 voting power. So to gain voting power we need to delegate our votes to ourselves. So it's a strange mechanic, but even though you own, let's say, 10,000 contracts, 10,000 tokens, and we own this amount of token because we minted it while creating the ERC20 contract, we need to delegate all of the voting power to us or somebody else.
So we can do it on OpenZeppelin Defender. Just delegate, and we'll be choosing where we want to delegate. We'll be using MetaMask account. We'll do it by EOA to do it instantly. And just another admin action.
Yeah, so now as we set up all of the roles, executor roles, proposal roles, and a minter, we can move to tally and start minting using the governance pattern.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll use tally for all of the voting and governance stuff because it's recommended by OpenZeppelin. But before we can start voting for our proposals, we need to add our smart contracts to Tally as a new DAO.
We can use one of the existing organization to do that.
Yeah. So something we don't use yet, maybe this one.
So now we are going to choose our token. It was ERC20. We have to copy paste our token address.
Yep.
And we have to add our start block. We can check it on Etherscan because we've used RikiB testnet.
Yeah, so we paste it right after the address and look for the first transaction.
Yeah, because it was the creation of the contract.
And here is the Timelock. We can copy. So yeah, we need to remove all the white spaces because the tally parser throws errors if we don't do that. So just making sure.
Same thing with governance.
Yeah, and you are working with OpenZeppelin Governor, so and WinKey. And again the starting block thing. Oh, it's not the transaction, but it should be the address path. And here it is, contract creation transaction. And now we pray that it goes through, because sometimes there are issues and you can't create a new DAO. But now it's ready, and we need to wait a few minutes for the contracts to update here. But in the meantime, we can start new proposals. As you can see, we can create proposals using Tally, but what we are gonna do is create proposals using Defender.
Okay, so we would like, for example, to meet some of the tokens. That's why we granted minter role. So now we'll go to our token contract and create new proposal. We'll be minting now. Okay, and we will be choosing account, for example, MetaMask 2, and amount, for example, 1000 Ether. But to do that, we have to convert.
Yeah. So it's again the converter in action.
And we'll be using governor because it's our goal to create proposal and go through the tally tool.
So it looks like the governor can't fetch our Timelock, and that's strange, but what's wrong? Maybe we could refresh the page. And try it again. So it's gonna be MetaMask 2, the amount, and our governor. Oh yeah, so it actually was alright. The only thing is that it says enter a multi-sig address, and it was misleading to me because we need the governor address here. And it picks the Timelock we use, and Timelock contract is optional really, and we use it to take some control from the owners of the contract and give it to all of the token holders, to investors. And what the Timelock really does is it delays execution of certain functions. For example, if we create a proposal to mint 10,000 tokens and somebody is not happy with that, then he has the specified time. Let's say we specified it to 1 minute when we created the time lock, to exit, to sell his tokens and run if he's not happy with the action. And usually the time is set to 1 up to 3 days, not 1 minute. But in this guide, we don't want to be waiting for 3 days, so we picked something short. So now the title is
It's for the minting, yeah.
minting using Gov. Oh, as you can see, we have the time set here. And the transaction failed because the account 3584 is missing role 0x9f. So which role is that? Is the minter role. And yep, we haven't set the minter role to governor 2, so we need to, I'll use a new window and do it also using Defender. So what we need to do is create or reuse the existing
One of the
proposal.
yeah.
And grant the, again, minter role to our governor. Yeah, so now we'll have a minter role set for governor to create new proposals, and minter role for Timelock to execute those minting proposals on tally. Because if you don't do that, the tally throws errors, so that's a requirement. And now the previous transaction should go through. And we can send it to governor. As you can see, we can't execute it right away because we need the proposal to pass the voting first. So now we send it to governor. And shortly after the transaction is confirmed, the voting will start, and we'll have 5 minutes because we specified it so, while using the wizard for token and governance creation, to vote for, against, or abstain. And then after the 5 minutes, the voting will end. So the voting process has not started yet, but will start shortly. We need to wait for that. And then we will be able to see the proposal in action on tally.
Yeah, it's ongoing.
So it's ongoing, and now we can manage the
Now
proposals.
wait for the proposals, right? Because it's not an instant thing
Yep,
on a tally.
it takes some time.
If you scroll up, you can also delegate votes here, as we mentioned before, but we used OpenZeppelin Defender to do that, so it's up to you which way you want to do this.
Yeah, so we don't need to do it now, but other accounts that want to vote, that have the tokens, but not delegated their voting power, have to use this one, as they don't have the access to the Defender usually. So refreshing again. Here it
Okay.
is. So it's still waiting, even though the Defender said the voting started. So we need to wait a few minutes. Oh yeah. So now we are ready to vote. And don't look at the voting power 0 because I think it's bugged. It's been like that for a few days. But when you delegate the votes to yourself, you will have the voting power even though the interface says you don't. So adding a comment and voting for.
Now we will be waiting for our vote to appear. And also we'll be waiting for the proposal to end.
Yep, so it can take like 30 seconds, sometimes a few minutes before the vote shows here. But if you encounter any problems and want to do this stuff manually, because underneath the with tally it has like regular source code, web3 source code for communicating with the contract. You can always do this manually using the executable code here and using it by yourself using Remix. And also if you want to find the proposal ID, you have it here in the path of the link. So it's this thing. So now we are waiting for the vote to appear. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so the vote went through and we have our address here and we have the amount of votes we casted, and it's 10,000 because while creating the ERC20 smart contract, we decided to print 10,000 tokens, which we are the owners of because we deployed the contract using our MetaMask account.
Yes, and also because we delegated that to the specific.
Yeah. So in this case, each token owned stands for 1 voting power, but we are still waiting for the proposal to end.
Okay, so now the voting has ended, so we can do the rest of the stuff. So we have to go back to our home site of the with tally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
now we can manage our proposals because the voting has just ended, and we can query.
yeah. So let's queue it. And now the transaction has started and the time lock kicked in. So if it's set to 1 or 3 days, the users that don't like the decision here can just sell all the tokens and run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now we have to wait a little and I think refresh the page because execute won't appear until that.
Yeah, still needs to wait a minute. I think.
Yeah.
Though I can show you one thing, which is like when you open the proposal details, you have the status history, and it's written in block numbers. So you can see that it started on this one, then it waited for 1 block before the voting started, and we specified 1 block while creating the contracts in Wizard. And then it succeeded after 5 minutes, So it's, I think it's specified in block numbers here. So, yep. Now the 1 minute thing has passed. So we can go back to the management section to reload it. Still need to wait.
Tally needs time.
That also, when you go back to Defender, it should update the status. So when you refresh the page, it updates the status depending on the state in Tally, because it's all stored on blockchain really, and Tally is just a interface you can use to make all of the queuing, executing simpler. Oh yeah.
So now we can execute our proposal.
And just confirm it.
Yeah. And when it's done, we'll have our tokens minted on the actions. It was MetaMask number 2.
Keep in mind that if you click on the Q button or execute button and nothing happens, it might be that you're missing a certain executor, proposer, not really proposer, but minter role, depending on the action you do in the proposal. So when you encounter things like that, if you click and if you open the development tools, you can check all of the errors here, and it should be much easier to debug and fix it. But in our case, it looks like it went through.
Yeah, because we granted an access to the proposal and executor role.
Yep, but still waiting for the status change to execute it.
Oh.
Okay, so it says it executed. I think that the previous screen is not showing the right status yet, but we can see a strange thing happening, which is participation rate is not full, and it probably means that the tokens for our second MetaMask were already minted. So we can check if our MetaMask token got all of the my token tokens. And to do that, we can use OpenZeppelin and copy the ERC20 token address, or we just click on view it in Block Explorer. And then if you click on tracker or change the path to token, you'll be able to see the holders page, and you can see that my second MetaMask account got the tokens we wanted to mint, so it went through, and when it happened 2 minutes ago, so it was executed, as you can see here.
Yeah, okay, great. So that would be all from us. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.
Yep, thanks to you.